They should have never let the Golden State Warriors draft Patrick Baldwin Jr. So as you all know, the Golden State Warriors training camp has started and we see a lot of new faces when it comes to signings and also rookies. However, one face that has stood out and has impressed a lot of the coaches and staff is Patrick Baldwin Jr. Now you all have been loving this PBJ series, so I thought I'd do another video, and in today's video guys, we're going to be going through 5 things Patrick Baldwin Jr. must do this upcoming season in order to help the Golden State Warriors win another championship, and how he could become an all-out superstar. So before we get into it, make sure you like this video, and don't forget, if you want more Golden State Warriors content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. But let's get into the first thing Patrick Baldwin Jr. must do, and that is using his high IQ. Now, like I said before, a lot of the staff and also coaches have made comments about Patrick Baldwin Jr. and how he's a very exciting prospect. Steve Kerr himself actually said this: "I've been shocked by what I've seen in an exciting way. He's an exciting prospect. It's very exciting to watch." So Steve Kerr had a lot to say about PBJ, and I honestly do think one thing that really does separate him from the rest of the draft class is honestly his high IQ. Yes, he has the stature, 6'9". He does move pretty well for a 6'9", most closely to a guard. However, where I do really think he stands out is his high IQ and be able to play with such maturity. Of course, guys, you've seen this time and time again where college players, even if they're the first pick in the draft, sometimes they end up being a flop and they don't exceed in the NBA. Now, one of the main reasons why I personally think that is because a lot of these players aren't able to develop high IQ skills and also become a great player through using their knowledge. I think the great thing about PBJ is that he's already got that knowledge. He already has that natural high instinct when it comes to how to play basketball, especially at the highest level. And that's why you see players after 5-6 years, that's when you really start to see them develop, because they start to gain experience and know how to play the proper way using, high IQ, which I think is super important. It's something that's very slept on, okay? Some other high IQ players are Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo, LeBron is even really smart, and you do hear a lot of his teammates and also players he has versed come out saying one of LeBron's biggest strengths is his capability to play very smart. So I think it's honestly such an underrated skill, and I think if Patrick Baldwin Jr. continues to actually push this and continue to get smarter and continue to be more efficient on the court, it will definitely help the Golden State Warriors win another championship. But I think it will also help PBJ become a great player, not just someone that gets garbage minutes. I'm talking a serious role player, and eventually, hopefully, maybe starter one day. So PBJ, his IQ is very important, and I think if he can use it to his advantage, it will be amazing. So the number 2 thing Patrick Baldwin Jr. must do is become a better shooter. Now, I think Patrick Baldwin Jr. is actually a really solid shooter already, but I think to get up to the NBA standard, and not only that, get up to the Golden State Warriors standard, he needs to learn how to shoot threes more and more efficiently every single day. Now, I don't think that's going to be hard, despite the fact that they got Steph and Klay in the same team, and you also have other players such as Jordan Poole who can also shoot very well, and also other big men that can help him out in that sense of scoring inside as well, or maybe that mid-range shot. But when it comes to the 3-point shot, I think Patrick Baldwin Jr. has the capabilities to actually develop it. He's a really good mid-range and also, kind of hook shot type shooter, and I think that can really translate into the NBA. But if he does add a more, I guess consistent 3-point shot, I think it will honestly be very good. A new signing of Golden State Warriors is JaMychal Green, and he's actually a really solid 3-point shooter, and I think PBJ can learn a lot from him, especially, PBJ being 6'9". So even though he is listed as a guard, it's very surprising he actually is listed at a guard. He will definitely probably play that small forward, maybe power forward position, especially in today's NBA, and I think he needs to really improve a lot in that 3-point percentage. Now, his 3-point percentage during his college years, or college days, 2021-2022 season, was actually 26% from the 3. So he's not the greatest, but he's not terrible, okay? I would still trust him on the 3-point line, which I think is great, but if we can get him up to, the 35%, 40% range, honestly, Patrick Baldwin Jr. will definitely turn a lot of heads, and he is definitely going to be a great player coming off the bench, and someone they definitely have to watch out for when it comes to the rest of the NBA. So I honestly think it's great. He's got great inside finishing, especially being at 6'9", 220 pounds. He already is a bit of an oversized guard, so if he does get smaller people on him, 6'7", 6'6", he can definitely work inside the paint. He has that mid-range, and that 3-point is definitely coming along very nicely. But Steph and Klay are definitely going to teach him him a couple of things, and I think Baldwin Jr. is definitely going to gain a better three-point shot as this season continues and as he gets more game time and time again. Now, the third thing Patrick Baldwin Jr. must do is trust the process and accept his role on this team. Now, I know a lot of these NBA players, especially even if you're just a rookie, once you're coming into the NBA season, you start to realize you're not getting the same attention that you were in college. You may have been the big dog at campus at your other college. However, when you come into the NBA, you're pretty much at the bottom and you have to work for everything you are given. So I honestly think this is really important. Sometimes you see rookies come into the league, they think they're already the star player, and it doesn't work out for them. And I think one of the things Patrick Baldwin Jr. must do, but also is already doing, which is why I absolutely think he's going to be an absolute star one day, is that he has accepted his role in the Golden State Warriors as maybe getting garbage minutes, or maybe, just coming off the bench and playing a few minutes here and there. And I think that's what makes him really that much special. You've seen this happen with rookies as well. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, at one point they were rookies, they were getting garbage minutes, but they've trusted the process and they are honestly such high ticket players right now. I swear I haven't seen an article that hasn't mentioned the potential Patrick Baldwin Jr. has, and that was also the same when it came to Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody back in the day. And now you see Moody, Kuminga, they're getting their opportunity. They're probably going to be getting more minutes this upcoming season because they've trusted the process, they've stayed with it, and they've actually trusted in the Golden State Warriors. And I think that's honestly fantastic, and that's why you see Kuminga and Moody, really benefiting a lot from this. Not only are they a big, player for the Golden State Warriors, but a lot of teams know their potential and they have become high ticket items, okay? A lot of teams are offering them big contracts, especially once their contract ends with Golden State Warriors, and that's thanks to GSW themselves. So I think if Patrick Baldwin Jr. follows the process, yes, he may not be getting 20-30 minutes a game probably for the next couple of seasons, but if he trusts it, if he plays the 10 minutes that he gets, if he continues to train hard, he will definitely be a star one day, and hopefully maybe the starting power forward or small forward for Golden State Warriors if Draymond and the rest eventually leave. So, PBJ has a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but I think he's showing signs of really great longevity, and I think it's honestly fantastic and refreshing to see a player like this. And the fact that we got him so late in the draft, 28th pick, guys, 28th pick of the first round, so really not a lottery pick, not even close to high lottery pick. Honestly, it's such a steal for the Patrick Baldwin Jr. fans out there, and I think it's honestly great that he's a part of someone like the Golden State Warriors. The fourth thing Patrick Baldwin Jr. must do is continue to improve on defense. I think defense is probably the most underrated thing about anyone's game. If someone plays really good defense, that's what's really going to make them an all-out superstar and help their team win. Now, a lot of people know Steph Curry shoots threes, Klay Thompson shoots threes, there's also other players like Jordan Poole, but one thing that had them help win that NBA championship is definitely defense. Stopping players such as Marcus Smart in the finals, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, if you don't stop those players, you are not winning an NBA championship, because guys, I'm telling you right now, like the saying goes, defense wins championships. Patrick Baldwin Jr. right now is a great defender, do not get me wrong, but I think he can continue to improve on it, especially when it comes to shot blocking and getting switched onto smaller guards. There are a lot of quick guards in today's NBA. Ja Morant's one of them, and I honestly do think, sometimes you will get the switch on and you'd want to make sure you're able to keep up with them. So if you have someone like Patrick Baldwin Jr. who's 6'9", 220 pounds and is able to guard even the fastest of guards in the NBA, he is honestly going to be super dangerous. That is honestly a recipe for success for the Golden State Warriors, and I think that's what makes Draymond Green such a good power forward as well. People don't realize Draymond Green is only 6'6", so it is a bit easier for him since he is shorter to guard the smaller guards, but the good thing about Draymond Green, he's able to guard anywhere from, guards such as Ja Morant all the way to centers of 7 foot, and you've seen him do it time and time again, and I think that's why I respect Draymond Green so much on defense. So Patrick Baldwin Jr. can pick up and also pick up a lot of things from Draymond Green when it comes to how to play defense, how to guard guards, how to also defend big men that are oversized or, above your height. I think it is going to be very, very important and really does show his development as a player. So defensively, when it comes to his rebounds, he actually averages 5.8 rebounds in his college days. He had 1 block and also 1 steal per game. But you also got to realize he only did play 11 games, so there isn't a lot of games to actually, base it off, but I think what he has done so far, it is a solid defender, but I think what's going to make him really dangerous is when he's able to guard 1 through 5. So whoever he's put on, whether he's switched off after a pick and roll, he's able to develop and push that forward, and I think that is going to help him, really develop into a great all-around player. Like I said, guys, defense wins championships, and if you can provide defense for the Golden State Warriors, I definitely see another Warriors championship on the way. So the number 5 thing Patrick Baldwin Jr. must do is stay with the Golden State Warriors. Now, this actually relates to my third point when it comes to trusting the process, but Patrick Baldwin Jr., look, he may have a couple of NBA championships because Golden State Warriors are really hot right now. Maybe next season, if they do win, Patrick Baldwin Jr.'s trade value is going to skyrocket because of it. And you have seen this time and time again. When a team actually wins an NBA championship, you see sometimes their role players actually leave and sign a bigger contract. And the reason why that's the case, guys, is because that is when their trade value is at the highest and you want to lock in a really big contract. That's why you saw Gary Payton II leave. That's why you saw Otto Porter leave. And that's why you also saw JTA leave. Now, Patrick Baldwin Jr. may be in that same scenario next season or maybe the next couple of seasons. If Golden State Warriors continue to push and win championships and Patrick Baldwin Jr. plays a somewhat of a vital role, even just as a role player, I honestly think Patrick Baldwin Jr.'s trade value and contract value is going to go up and skyrocket, and then Patrick Baldwin Jr. may decide to leave and go somewhere else to catch the bigger bag. But I think that isn't the smartest decision all the time. Now, I do understand, you want to make the bag, you want to make as much money as possible, especially, to help your family and all that. However, you want to look at it long term. Sometimes if you take that short term decision, it affects you in the long term. And, Gary Payton II, he probably could have got millions and more millions if he waited another year, maybe going back to back with Golden State Warriors. We never know. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.